One thing about movies that we love is the storytelling, but nothing is more frustrating than watching a story being told with some major details left out or an unexplained ending. So let's talk through these emotions today on Top 10 Beyond the Screen with today's list as we look at the top 10 movie mysteries of the decade. I'm your host Josh, hang around to the end so you don't miss the blooper reel and comment features, and feel free to creep us on social media. You can find our links down below. But for now, let's get started. Beginning the countdown, list number 10 comes from the movie Castaway. I assume that the majority of people have seen the household movie by now, but for those who haven't, it follows a system engineer named Chuck Nolan who gets stranded on a deserted island. Tom Hanks took on the role and he's left to fend for himself, learning and developing different survival skills. At one point in the movie we see that some FedEx boxes have washed up on shore with him. Not sure how that's possible, but that's alright. We see him tear open all the parcels except for one. He leaves this one lone box sealed up as this symbolic promise to himself that he will make it home to personally deliver it to the person who was supposed to receive it. I get the motivation behind it, and luckily he follows through with the promise to himself. But we never get to see what was in the box, so we're just left wondering what could have been in there. The director of the movie, Robert Zemeckis, once joked that the package contained a satellite phone, which could have been an insane plot twist if they revealed that at the end during like an unboxing scene. But instead, we are just left guessing what was in that mystery box. Next up at number 9 is the big question from American Psycho. People have a different opinion when it comes to the ending of the movie. Is he a psycho or not? The movie follows the infamous novel and revolves around a New York investment banker named Patrick Bateman, who many people would agree is obviously insane. When he's not crunching numbers for work, he's filling up his free time with brutally killing and butchering people. At the very end of the movie, we see him leaving a confession through voicemail to his lawyer. But the whole irony behind the voicemail is that his murders may have all been delusions of a mentally ill man. It could have all been fake. People have spent a lot of time online debating what the real ending is. The obvious ending would be that he really is psycho, but we truly don't know. The director Mary Harron claimed that she didn't purposely try to imply that the murders were imagined, but that is what the movie left us with. To me, he is straight up psycho, and that is all there is to it. Sliding into number 8 is Mystery from The Shining. The 1980 movie set the standards for horror films, and it left the audience with one of the most discussed closing shots in cinema history. The movie follows a 1977 novel written by Stephen King and follows a recovering alcoholic named Jack Torrance, who accepts a position as the off-season caretaker of the Overlook Hotel. He brings along his wife and their young son Danny Torrance. His son possesses a power called the Shining, which allows him to see the horror that went on in the hotel, but the ending of the movie leaves us with this unsolved twist. We see a black and white photo on the wall which is labeled Overlook Hotel, July 4th Ball 1921, meaning the picture was taken 6 decades before, and Jack Torrance is sitting in front and center of the photo, which means that it was taken before he ever stepped foot in the hotel and before he ever even existed. This ending wasn't included in the novel, so it left fans with some confusion. 2 theories have floated around. Either Jack had his soul consumed by the hotel upon dying and this picture contains all the souls that the hotel has taken, or that Jack is a reincarnation of a previous Torrance family member who was a caretaker at the hotel. The director Stanley Kubrick made it clear that the photo suggests that he could be a reincarnation, but that it does not necessarily mean that is the truth. So basically, thanks for nothing. No explanation. In our number 7 spot is from Shutter Island. This is my favorite movie of all time, and the mystery ending is part of the reason why, to be honest. I totally get that it's frustrating when the ending kind of just leaves you hanging and doesn't have this definite clear-cut explanation, but to me the ending is what made the whole movie. There is a big debate on what the ending means, so it's basically all on personal opinion. The movie follows 2 US Marshals who are sent to an asylum on a remote island to investigate the disappearance of a patient. But throughout the movie we start to learn that the real patient of the island might actually be Teddy, and he might be the insane one. By the end of the movie we are convinced that Teddy is finally aware that he is mentally ill, and the asylum planned the entire thing as a case study for him to realize that he needs help. But in the end, we are left with an indefinite answer, and there's 2 possibilities for what could be the truth. 1, that Teddy is in fact crazy and the whole movie was roleplay therapy, or 2, they actually brainwashed him into believing he was crazy because they didn't want him to expose the unethical and illegal things going down on the island. Either ending is still an epic plot twist, but the fact that we're left guessing just makes it that much more eerie. Cruising into number 6 is a mystery from the movie Birdman. There's a big debate surrounding the movie, and that is, did Regan die? The Best Picture winning movie ends with the protagonist Regan Thompson ending up in the hospital after shooting himself in the head while on stage. And in the final scene of the movie, he leaps out of the window in his hospital room. So most people would assume that he died, because that's usually what happens when someone jumps out of a building window, or when they shoot themselves in the head. But when his daughter in the movie runs over to the window, she doesn't have a concerned look on her face. She almost looks joyful, and she's looking up towards the sky. So did he really become Birdman for real? Or what? The most obvious theory is that Regan actually died when he shot himself on stage, and the final scene is just a hallucination of optimism. But another theory suggests that the final scene is a representation of him letting go of his own ego and is embracing life. So we will never truly know if he flies or dies. Halfway through the list at number 5 is The Wrestler. The 2008 movie tells the story of an aging wrestler, Randy Robinson, who struggles to keep up with his life as he gets too old to continue his wrestling career. He has to come to terms with this different stage of his life, which is hard for him to accept. The movie ends with Randy, known as the Ram, climbing to the top turnbuckle and leaps off despite the fact that he had chest pains prior, which led to him being diagnosed with a heart condition. But right after he takes his big jump, the screen cuts to black, so the outcome of his landing is unresolved. The actor who played the wrestler, Mickey Rourke, has suggested himself that a possibility is that his heart explodes on impact, but he refused to confirm the truth regardless. The whole point is that the audience is left wondering what really happened. We will never know if he survived the jump or not. We're here at number 4 with one from the movie The Thing. The 1982 sci-fi horror classic has one of the most brutal and captivating cliffhanger endings of all time. At the end of the movie, what's left is the 2 remaining survivors at the Antarctic research facility. The 2 of them have burned the entire camp down, hoping that it would kill the alien parasite that took over and killed everyone else. But it is the final moments of the film that leave us guessing. The 2 men, McReady and Childs, are sitting in the snow watching the camp burn in flames, and they are both quietly acting suspicious of each other, wondering if either of them have the killing parasite. But before the screen fades to black, they share a flask of scotch, which shows us that they are both accepting the fact that one of them could be the Thing, and if so, then they are doomed, because they're sharing germs. The scene is honestly chilling, and the real location and identity of the Thing is left completely in the air. One fan theory has suggested that McReady replaced the scotch with gasoline to test Childs, and his lack of a reaction to the gasoline would confirm that he is in fact the Thing. But the director John Carpenter has flat out said that he never wanted to imply an answer. It was supposed to be that way. In the 3rd spot on our list is Pulp Fiction. One of the biggest cinematic mysteries is the unknown contents of the briefcase that's retrieved by Jules and Vincent for their boss Marcellus in the movie. It acts as a prominent aspect of the movie, but the audience isn't given many hints as to what might be inside of it. All we ever see is the orange glow coming from it, and that it opens with the combination 666, which we all know is the number of the beast. There's one popular fan theory that says the briefcase contains the soul of Wallace himself, suggesting that the plaster on the back of his head shows that his soul was sucked out prior to it. But the man Quentin Tarantino has admitted himself that there is no definite explanation. He said originally the briefcase was supposed to contain diamonds, but he decided to ditch the idea because he thought it was just too generic. The soul theory would be pretty cool though. Should've went with that one. Taking over the number 2 spot is Inception. I don't even think this one needs an explanation because I'm pretty sure every single one of us was frustrated by the unexplained ending. The movie creates the big debate, is Cobb awake or dreaming? The movie is incredible nonetheless, but the final scene leaves us all with the unanswered question, which can be super annoying sometimes, not gonna lie. In the final scene, Dom Cobb, Leonardo DiCaprio's character, finally returns to the United States and reunites with his family. The final shot of the movie shows Cobb walking away from the spinning top, which we all know indicates whether a subject is dreaming or not. But before we can see if the top falls over, the screen goes black. So, as far as we know, he could have been dreaming the whole time that he was reunited with his family. We've all heard the corny explanation that the real takeaway from the ending is that Cobb no longer pays attention to the spinning top and simply accepts his reality, but that is not really an answer. Some people have pointed out that his children are wearing similar clothes to the ones in his memories, so it could be proof that it is a dream, but the director Christopher Nolan enjoys not giving away an answer. That was the whole point. Finally, in at number 1 is the big mystery from The Dark Knight. The beloved Heath Ledger took on the role of the Joker, which has become one of the most iconic supervillains of all time. And one of his most popular habits is telling different stories about how he got his severely scarred face. You could say his scars is what makes him the Joker with his overall look, but we don't actually know the real story of how he got them. In the movie, we actually hear two explanations. In one scene, he says that his alcoholic abusive father did it with a knife. But an alternate story is that the Joker himself put a razor in his mouth to give himself matching scars to his wife, whose face was scarred by a shark attack. He even prepares to tell a third story during the final fight against Batman, but he gets interrupted. So with all these different stories being told, we don't actually know where the scars came from. Maybe it's a combination of all three stories somehow? Like maybe some parts of each story are really true? The movie just doesn't give us an answer. Alright guys, that is our countdown list for today. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments and show me some love by hitting the thumbs up button. For now, let's check out some comments from some of my other videos. Rainy P says, "You do such a great job on every subject you take on. I love watching you and laughing with you." Oh, thank you. Thanks for laughing with me and not at me. Lenya Kinley says, "I'm now hooked on this channel." Well, that is the only addiction that I will support. Clyde Johnson says, "Joss is the happiest." Yes, I am. For the most part. Not always. Ask Chris. Raquel Steele says, "I thought everyone knew about 50 Cent getting shot. I literally had no idea. It could just be me though. Did you know?" Yeah, I know that. But you learned that from me in the script, did you not? Oh, you do that? Okay, well it's just me. I actually had no clue that he was ever shot. Didn't know the story. Alright guys, that's all I got for you. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And also ring the notification bell so that we can hang out every day. You can keep watching more of our videos. Just stay on the screen. But first, enjoy the bonus content. That sounds like Chewbacca. Almost threw up in my mouth. I need a second to swallow before I upchuck again because that was nasty.